Hi, everyone. It's Chris. I'm a content developer and project management specialist here at N2K Networks. I'm also your host for this week's edition of CertByte, where I share a practice test question from our suite of industry-leading content and a study tip to help you achieve the professional certifications you need to fast-track your career growth in IT, cybersecurity, and project management. Today's question targets the ISC2 Certified in Cybersecurity, or CC exam, which launched on August 31st, 2022. This exam is targeted for those candidates who are college students or grads, IT professionals, or career changers wanting to pivot to the cybersecurity industry. ISC2 also reports that their members earn 35% higher salaries than non-members. I have a new guest host here to help us out today, Stephen, who is our resident ISC2 expert. Welcome, Stephen. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for inviting me. I feel like I spent my entire life either taking practice exams for certification exams or now writing certification exam questions. So I'm really happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. So if you've been listening to our episodes, you know that we are going to be turning the tables. And Stephen, you're going to be asking me today's question. But first, while I corral some courage, I understand you have a 10-second study bit for this test. So what do you have for us today, Stephen?
Well, I want to remind everyone that when you're practicing to take a certification exam, that the practice tests are not the actual questions. So one of the things that we do at N2K in our practice exams is make sure all of the incorrect answers are also plausible answers on the real exam for other types of questions. So make sure you study the wrong answers and read those descriptive links in the bottom of the practice exam tips.
That is a really great tip. So Stephen, what do you have for me today?
All right, this is networking, Chris, so prepare yourself. So here we go.
Okay.
You use a computer on a TCP/IP network, and you transfer data through well-known TCP port 80. Which protocol is most likely being used to transfer data? Now, this is a multiple choice question. You don't have to have these memorized. So let me tell you what your
Okay.
four choices are. Your choices are FTP, POP3, SMTP, or HTTP.
All right, Stephen. So this falls under the network security objective and understand computer networking sub-objective. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it's a good idea for you to place these exam in the appropriate objectives so you know you've studied all parts of the exam.
That's right. So not my strong suit, but I admit I have studied for, taken, and passed this CC test, and it was no easy feat, even though it's targeted for beginners. So it was a tough test. And for our listeners out there, it's 100 multiple choice questions, and you get 2 hours. It sounds like I'm stalling, which I am. So I should know this. And I do recall this answer as I did a memorization technique for this, which I will discuss in a bit. So my answer is D, HTTP.
All right, we're off to a good start. That is correct. The
Yay.
Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP, is assigned to port 80, and that is a well-known port number that you do need to know for the CC exam. HTTP is used to transfer data between browsers and servers on the web. HTTP is a stateless protocol, which means the server and the client do not collect any information about each other. Now, in terms of studying the incorrect answers, those may be plausible correct answers on other questions. So let's make sure we know those as well. The FTP stands for the File Transfer Protocol, and that uses the well-known TCP ports 20 and 21. FTP is used to transfer files or data between FTP clients and servers on a TCP/IP network. Now, the next one is related to email. It is the POP3, or Post Office Protocol 3, and that uses TCP port 110. POP3 is used to transfer email messages from email servers to clients. And there's another final option there that was SMTP, which is also related to mail. It's called the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol that uses well-known TCP port 25. SMTP is used to transfer email messages between email servers, and then sometimes transfer messages from clients to servers in older environments. So I'm curious now, you used a memorization technique to remember these ports. What is your trick?
So there are a lot of mnemonics out there that you can use, as you very well know, Stephen. And for port 80, I've seen everything from mapping port 80 to the part acronym, part phrase, hold the phone. I see a ghost, since the number 80 looks like a sideways ghost face, I guess, which is foreboding since it's a non-encrypted port. But I just associated 80 with the HTTP protocol coming out in 1989. So that's what I used. And there are so many techniques. Can you share some of what you've heard that have been helpful?
Well, when you take a certification exam related to technology concepts like this, it can be acronym soup. So, one of my tips is I don't try to remember all of the words in the acronym. For example, HTTP, I would just think of that one as hyper. The SMTP, I would
Hmm.
think of as simple. And then that way, I'm only trying to remember one word that's easily pronounced rather than an acronym or the whole thing pronounced all the way out.
That is very helpful. So I'd love to hear from our listeners what techniques they've used as well. So leave us a comment. Also, Stephen, this is one of those tests where you are not allowed to mark items for review, which makes the exam even more challenging. Is that due to the fact that it's adaptive, which means it supplies subsequent questions based on your previous answers?
Actually, no. On this particular exam, the exam questions will be balanced according to the percentage of the questions that are stated in the exam summary. So it's a really good idea as a student to make sure that you study all the parts of the exam, and those percentage weighting will give you an idea about how many questions you'll get on each topic.
Excellent. Great question. Appreciate your being here today, Stephen. Are there any upcoming ISC2 or other practice tests you'd like to promote here?
We do, actually. We have an update coming for the CISSP exam in early 2025, and just recently updated the framework for the Cisco Certified Network Associate, or CCNA exam, this past September. We also have a ton more Microsoft, CompTIA, and Amazon exam updates coming, so keep a lookout for those on our website.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining me for this week's CertByte. If you're actively studying for this certification and have any questions about study tips or even future certification questions you'd like to see, please feel free to email me at certbyte@n2k.com. That's CERTBYTE@n2k.com. If you'd like to learn more about N2K's practice tests, visit our website at n2k.com/certify. For more resources, including our N2K Pro offerings, check out the cyberwire.com/pro. For sources and citations for this question, please check out our show notes. Happy certifying.